Night fell over Troy. Quiet, heavy, and unnatural. The moon hid behind dark clouds as if terrified to shine upon the palace. Inside the royal chamber, Queen Hecabe tossed in her sleep, her breath sharp and uneven. She saw a vision. A terrible vision. A newborn child. Wrapped in cloth. Burning like a torch. The flames did not consume him. They consumed Troy. Its towers collapsed. Its people screamed. Its walls cracked and fell into the dust. And the flames, all of them, came from the baby in her arms. Hecabe woke with a scream. The dream was not just a dream. It was a warning. This is the story of Paris, the prince of Troy who was never meant to live. Yet whose fate would change the world. Paris is remembered as the man who stole Helen. The catalyst of the Trojan War. The reason thousands of heroes marched, fought, and died. But his story begins long before he became a lover, a warrior, or even a prince. His story begins with a prophecy. A prophecy that nearly ended his life before it began. To understand this prophecy, we must step into the royal halls of Troy. Into a world ruled by gods, visions, and destiny. A world where a single nightmare could change the fate of an empire. King Priam and Queen Hecabe ruled a Troy reborn. Years after Heracles had destroyed the first city, Priam rebuilt Troy with new walls, new temples, and new hope. Under his reign, Troy flourished. Its streets buzzed with life. Merchants from distant lands filled its markets. Its warriors were respected across Asia Minor. Priam and Hecabe already had many children: Hector, the noble warrior; Cassandra, cursed with true visions no one believed; Helenus, gifted with prophecy; Deiphobus, Troilus, and many others. But Hecabe was pregnant again. A child who would one day be known by many names: Alexandros, Paris, the Prince of Ruin. In the final month of her pregnancy, Hecabe experienced a dream unlike any other. She dreamed she gave birth, not to a child, but to a flaming torch. The torch screamed like an infant. But its flames spread across Troy, burning houses, temples, and warriors. People fled in terror. Soldiers tried to fight the fire with water and sand. But every drop only made the flames grow stronger. The burning infant glowed brighter. And Troy crumbled into ash. Hecabe awoke trembling, drenched in sweat. Her scream echoed throughout the palace. Servants rushed to her, but she could not move. She could barely breathe. She whispered only two words. "The baby burns." At dawn, Priam summoned the wisest prophets in the land. Cassandra came first, eyes distant, haunted by the curse Apollo placed upon her. She saw the future clearly. But no one ever listened. Helenus arrived next, calm, composed, deeply intelligent. He had inherited prophetic gifts too, though not cursed like his sister. Finally, the priests and seers of Troy gathered in the council chamber. Hecabe described her dream. The room fell silent. Helenus' voice broke the silence. "This is no dream. It is a prophecy." Cassandra, standing in the shadows, whispered, "The child will bring destruction. He will be the ruin of Troy." But Priam frowned. His love for his unborn child clouded his judgment. "A dream cannot doom a prince," he said. But Cassandra stepped forward, voice trembling. "No, father. He will open the gate to our enemies. He will burn our city. He must not live." If any other seer had spoken, Priam might have listened. But Cassandra's curse meant no one believed her. Still, every other prophet, one by one, echoed her words. The child will destroy Troy. He will be the cause of war. He will bring flame and sorrow. Priam's heart broke. To save Troy? He would have to sacrifice his newborn son. The day of the birth arrived. A storm raged outside. Thunder boomed like the roar of an enraged god. Lightning flashed across the sky as if slicing through fate itself. Hecabe cried out as the midwives gathered. Priam paced outside, torn between dread and hope. When the baby was born, the storm suddenly calmed. The wind stopped. The rain softened to a drizzle. Some took this as a blessing. Others believed it was the gods watching. The child was healthy, beautiful, peaceful. Hecabe held him close, tears streaming down her face. "He is innocent," she whispered. "How can he be our doom?" But Priam looked at the child and trembled. The baby's eyes were bright, intelligent, as if he understood everything. And as Priam stared, he remembered the fear in Hecabe's voice, the warnings of the prophets, and the flames in her dream. The decision was made. The child must die. Priam summoned his most loyal servant, a man named Argelaus. Priam placed the child in his arms. "Take him to Mount Ida," Priam said quietly. "Leave him there to die. He must not return to Troy." Hecabe cried out, "No. Please, listen. Let him live. We can hide him. We can protect him." But Priam's voice hardened. "If he lives, Troy dies." Hecabe collapsed to the floor, sobbing. But the decision was final. Argelaus bowed his head. He was loyal to the king. But in his heart, he felt the weight of the sin he was about to commit. Still, he carried the baby away. The prince of Troy was being led to his death. Argelaus traveled deep into the wilderness outside Troy. Mount Ida was a vast, sacred mountain, home to shepherds, wild beasts, and hidden springs. As he climbed, the baby slept peacefully in his arms, unaware that each step brought him closer to death. When Argelaus reached a remote clearing, he laid the infant down near a thicket of wild fig trees. He whispered softly, "Forgive me, little one. This is not your fault. But destiny demands this." He turned away. He took a few steps. But then he stopped. Something was wrong. He heard a sound behind him. The cry of a child? He turned around, expecting to see the infant struggling. But instead he saw a bear. A massive, mother bear, approaching the infant. Argelaus froze in terror. But what happened next defied all nature. The bear did not harm the baby. She sniffed him gently, then laid down beside him, and began to nurse him. The child drank calmly, as if this were the most natural thing in the world. Argelaus fell to his knees. Tears filled his eyes. He whispered, "The gods have chosen him." He could not kill the baby now. Not after witnessing such a miracle. He believed the gods had intervened, that the child was meant to live. So he made a decision that defied Priam's orders. He left the baby, not to die, but to be raised on Mount Idaho. Days passed. Weeks passed. Then months. Then years. The infant grew into a child. Shepherds living on Mount Ida discovered him and took him in. A man named Aesacus raised him as his own, unaware of the boy's royal blood. They named him Paris. He grew into a handsome, kind, and intelligent youth, strong with a shepherd's build, gentle with animals, beloved by everyone on the mountain. Paris had no idea who he was. But destiny whispered to him in subtle ways. Animals trusted him. Birds perched on his shoulder. Even the wildest bulls bowed their heads when he passed. Everyone agreed, this boy is blessed. But blessings are sometimes warnings in disguise. One day, while Paris tended his flock, he witnessed something extraordinary. Two rams were fighting violently. Their horns clashed again and again, echoing across the valley. Paris stepped between them. He lifted his hand. And both rams stopped. They stared at him with calm eyes. Then walked away peacefully. The shepherds watching were stunned. One whispered, "This boy is no ordinary child. He has the presence of a prince. Or a god." Paris smiled, unaware of the truth. But far away, in the halls of Olympus, the gods took notice. They watched him with growing interest. Because Paris was destined to play a role in their quarrels, their rivalries and their wars. Soon, they would summon him. Back in Troy, Queen Hecabe never recovered from losing her child. Though she bore more children, a small part of her heart remained broken. Every night she whispered, "Did he die alone? Was he cold? Did he cry for me?" Priam, too, carried the burden of the decision. Though he tried to justify it, he often wondered, "Did we kill an innocent child?" Years later, a prophecy reached Troy. "The child lives." Priam dismissed it as rumor. Cassandra whispered, "He will return. And when he does, our fate will be sealed." But no one listened. Paris lived happily as a shepherd, unaware that destiny slowly drew him toward the city of his birth. And toward the greatest judgment the gods would ever impose on mortals. The judgment of Paris. But that is a story for the next episode. As the sun set on Mount Ida, Paris sat beside a fire, playing a simple tune on his shepherd's flute. He looked up at the stars and felt a strange pull in his heart. As if the heavens were calling his name. He had no idea that far above, on Mount Olympus, three goddesses watched him with interest. Hera, Athena, Aphrodite. And they were preparing a test, a divine choice that would ignite the Trojan War. This was the story of the birth of Paris, the prince who was destined to bring fire to Troy. Next time, we uncover the jealousy, beauty, and divine rivalry that shaped his fate. Episode 3, The Judgment of Paris, the Golden Apple. Subscribe for more stories from Trojan mythology.